Good afternoon. I'm Annette Vanderveer with the Human Services Department. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn series today. We have a very dynamic speaker for you today that will talk about International Women's House. Before I get into her bio, let me just remind you to put your questions in the Q&A or raise your hand, and we will get started. Her name is Jennifer Neal Clark. She is a senior executive, a Juris Doctor, and a marriage and family therapist. She specializes in family justice, diversion, and restorative legal practice. Her career began at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in Atlanta, where she served as a victim advocate in the Juvenile Court Division. She later joined the Center for Justice Innovation in Brooklyn, New York, where she helped implement diversion initiatives for people engaged in sex work and other vulnerable populations, advancing therapeutic and community-based sentencing alternatives. Her leadership roles have spanned to Safe Horizons, Bronx Family Court Programs, West Cops, which is resolved to stop the violence programming for men incarcerated for domestic violence, and the Women's Prison Association, where she developed initiatives to reduce sentences for justice-involved women with trauma histories and domestic violence-related offenses. This is under the Domestic Violence Survivors Justice Act. Now serving as the executive director of International Women's House, which is an Atlanta-based nonprofit supporting survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Jennifer continues to champion anti-race, trauma-informed, and restorative approaches that aim to restore community, reconcile social inequities, and reform systems of justice. Please welcome Jennifer Neal Clark.
Good morning or good afternoon, and thank you for joining me today to learn about the International Women's House and the work that we do to address domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. I'm pleased to be here today, and thank you so much for the invitation. At International Women's House, let me start here and share my screen. International Women's House is an agency that serves, that is based here in Atlanta, but serves survivors of sexual assault, human trafficking, and domestic violence. We have staff with over 40 years of experience assisting residents and clients who have faced sexual and physical abuse and human trafficking. Our mission is to empower each woman who seeks assistance from the agency, and no matter their background, continuously pursuing a vision to create a community where survivors can not only be safe, but thrive to reclaim their own lives free from violence. Our services are comprehensive. We offer shelter assistance. We also offer crisis intervention. We offer advocacy, legal assistance, language service. Well, we connect to legal assistance. We offer language services and educational workshops. A lot of our clients speak other languages. We lean into clients that have immigration matters and language barriers. We aim to build resiliency, independence, and facilitate their healing in a supportive environment. Furthermore, IWH utilizes our resources to fit the limited language proficiency standards so that we can meet the demands of our specific demographic of clients. We provide outreach assistance, so not only in shelter, but outreach assistance, financial assistance for survivors to assist them with entering into the next step of their lives and to lead towards stability. We assist clients from our local and broad community. We continue to support our local community, but our primary focus, as prior mentioned, are for immigrants, refugees, due to the fact that there are a lot of there aren't too many resources available for them. We engage with community organizations. We have a lot of partners that we work with so that we can broaden our impact within our community and beyond. So let's talk just a little bit about domestic violence, because a lot of times, we hear the word and but don't really understand what domestic violence spans. So it's a pervasive issue. It encompasses various forms of abuse, not solely physical abuse, and it affects countless individuals worldwide. There are some various manifestations of domestic violence that encompasses not only physical, but emotional, sexual, financial abuse. It impacts women and men and children from all backgrounds. It's driven by dynamics of power and control. So this isn't just a woman's issue, it's an all of us issue. To share with you some statistics and to understand the impact of domestic violence, we'll share with you that 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men will experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. More than 16 million people in the US suffer intimate partner violence and intimate partner abuse per year. And every minute, 32 people experience intimate partner violence in the United States. What this really does is highlights for us and makes us aware that it's really important to start early with prevention. We don't want to just respond and band-aid an issue, but we want to lean into what do healthy relationships look like? Um, if so many people are having intimate partner violence in their lifetime, then that means our agencies and our partner agencies cannot solely seek to address the intimate partner violence, but we need to seek to start a little bit earlier. It doesn't just affect men and women, but also the children who see it. It becomes a cycle that ends up continuing throughout their lives. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will be raped within their lifetime. 91% of victims of rape and sexual assault are female, and 9% are male. It's not about sex. I'll reiterate, it's about power, it's about control. Healthcare is 16% higher for women who were sexually abused as children, which means once that trauma has occurred, it leads to so many other health related issues in their lifetime. Georgia was recently ranked 10th in the nation for its rate of men killing women. Roughly 70% of domestic violence deaths in Georgia each year are committed using firearms. In 2018, there were 26,672 protective and stalking orders issued in Georgia. And in this year, 2019, 52,282 crisis line calls were answered, and 10,400 rape and sexual assault calls were answered. So, even though intimate partner violence significantly impacts women overall, immigrant and undocumented women face a more of a unique dilemma because of due to their vulnerability. Their immigration status can be and often is exploited by abusers as means of control. Immigrant women facing abuse who try to escape may lack access to bilingual shelters, financial aid, or food, and they're often without the support of a certified interpreter in court when reporting incidents to the police or 911 or in navigating their rights and legal system. What we see, especially now, is that women who come to our shelter are afraid. They're not only afraid because of um, the exploitation that they're suffering or the trauma that they've suffered, but they have the added component and element of feeling, as one client said, feeling hunted. that if she identified herself as an immigrant, if she sought help, that she might be deported. So this is what a lot of our clients are seeking support um, to get out of domestic violence situations, but also in ways that won't identify them to be to be deported. Human trafficking is a severe violation of human rights. It affects millions globally, and it's often interconnected with domestic violence and abuse. The human trafficking, in case some we hear the words human trafficking, but human trafficking is involves the illegal trade of individuals through force, fraud, or coercion for exploitation. This crime transcends borders and affects all socioeconomic classes and genders. And it's not only sex trafficking, but human trafficking is also can also be exploitation for labor purposes. 244,000 American children and youth are estimated to be at risk of child sexual exploitation, including commercial sexual exploitation. Runaways and accompanied minors make up the majority of at-risk youth for both sexual and labor exploitation. So according to the FBI, Atlanta is actually one of the top 14 cities in the country with the highest rates of child trafficking. About 374 girls are commercially sexually exploited monthly in Georgia. At average age of entry into the commercial sex market for girls is 12 and 14 years. And in Georgia, 12,400 men purchase sex with young women in any given month. That is in the state of Georgia. There is an estimate that 12,400 men, and that's only what is generally documented. And so we suspect that that number is even higher. And this is occurring. It's not just a story. This is some people's actual experience. Groups that include women, children, and the LGBTQ community are disproportionately affected by human trafficking. Economic disadvantage, lack of education, and prior abuse lead to those increased numbers. So vulnerability, people exploit the people who are looking to bring someone into sex trafficking, into into labor trafficking, are looking to exploit individuals who are already vulnerable. I will add to this this group that many who have mental health conditions are also individuals who are more heavily exploited due to their vulnerability. So, what is the response that we can have to human trafficking? Well, there are legal frameworks, there are survivor support services, there are community awareness programs, and there are collaborations, not just with law enforcement and nonprofit agencies, local governments, but with airports, with hotels. These are the places that we see human trafficking and the agencies that human trafficking heavily occurs. So IWH, International Women's House, provides essential support services and resources tailored to empower survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking. We offer counseling, legal assistance, community collaboration, and opportunities for public engagement. Where we start is by promoting awareness. If people don't know what's going on, then they won't be aware. We also recognize that individuals who are traumatized, individuals who are leaving the home, we recognize the relationship that many people have to their pets and ways that often um, abusers leverage relationships that individuals have with their pets to leverage their power and control. So IWH, if a client has pets, we provide referrals to pet shelters such as the HIMSA House. Um, the pet there is insured to receive the necessary care, whether it's vaccinations, medical assistance, and transportation. And we house pets in our shelter. We actually recently received funding from an agency called Red Rover, and we are so grateful for agencies such as Red Rover that provided us recently with a grant to beautify and to make more accessible our pet services within our shelter. We refer to counseling services. We hold groups in-house, and we offer resources to outside professional counseling services designed to support survivors emotionally and psychologically. Trained counselors utilize trauma-informed approaches to create a safe space for healing and recovery. We provide referral for legal assistance. Our clients are often referred to receive legal assistance in civil, immigration, and legal cases related to their domestic violence, trafficking, and sexual assault. Many who are referred to us are already involved in a case and are often identified as the complaining witness, the victim in a case. And we work very closely with the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office and other district attorneys' offices throughout the state. Legal advocates work closely with their clients to ensure that their rights are protected. And the only legal assistance that the IWH directly provides is offering temporary protective restraining orders. A temporary protective order is a beginning for the courts to acknowledge that an individual is, in fact, has provided the necessary information to the court and seeks protection. Those protective orders are what allow our clients to often get the distance that they need from the individual who's causing the abuse so that they can live safely and move forward in their lives. Through our community partnerships, we collaborate with local organizations, stakeholders to enhance the support services and the outreach. These partnerships foster united community response to combat domestic violence and human trafficking effectively. Being a state certified domestic violence and shelter and sexual assault center, we are able to offer assistance to first responders such as the police, fire and rescue, and healthcare professionals. And we often are tapped and tapped and contacted on a regular basis to be responsive. And we are 24-hour shelter and service. How can you get involved with all of this information? What does it look like for you to play a role? Well, community members do play a vital role in supporting survivors by volunteering, by hosting awareness events, by donating to IWH. Participation fosters empowerment. It helps raise awareness about domestic violence issues, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Keep your eyes open, keeping your ears open, knowing that these are experiences that individuals are having, so that with your awareness, you may be the difference between someone receiving support, knowing about our agency, making a referral, letting folks know that there are agencies out there that do care that are available. You can go to our website at iwh-atlanta.org for more information about how to get involved. But I want to bring you all into a story and share with you just to bring a highlight a little bit about a survivor in our shelter. Because as a family attorney and marriage and family therapist, I've witnessed families at their lowest points. Parents who don't know how they'll feed their children, survivors struggling to find safety, families trying to hold on despite poverty, language barriers, disability, or trauma. These layers of vulnerability, homelessness, joblessness, abuse, mental health struggles, often stack up so high that they feel insurmountable. That's why International Women's House exists. We're a 7-room emergency respite shelter that can house up to 21 individuals with their children who are surviving domestic violence intimate partner violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. But beyond shelter, we provide outreach services, court-based advocacy, case management, access to community-based resources. And so to get a more intimate understanding of how we support our clients in real life, I just want to take a moment to introduce you to a remarkable survivor whose story reflects the heart of our mission at International Women's House. For confidentiality, we won't share her name, but her journey represents the courage of so many families that we serve. She came to us speaking only Spanish, one of her legs requiring a brace as she carried a newborn in her arms and held the hand of her younger daughter, an elementary school child on the autism spectrum. Her partner, who has deep ties to a well-known gang, was her sole source of financial support. And she didn't even recognize at first that the abuse she described was not only domestic violence, but also sexual assault and human trafficking. She carried a tattoo on her arm that looked like a brand. She told us she was constantly moved from place to place, often living in houses with other women where men came and went, treating them as if they were disposable. Despite her exhaustion, she arrived determined to find a better future for her children. Her greatest fear, she said, was that her young daughter would eventually be targeted too. That fear and her fierce hope gave her the strength to make the call to our crisis line. Our amazing shelter assistants se comunicaron con ella en su propia idioma, making her feel seen, understood, and comfortable enough to take the incredible step to walk through our doors. Even her daughter's attachment to a backyard dog came with them. That small animal offered her the comfort of stability amidst all the chaos she was experiencing. At International Women's House, we honor that bond. We are one of the very few shelters that allows pets because we know that abusers often use animals as tools of control. In fact, we're right now, as I mentioned before, working to improve our dog park so that children and families can have safe and healing moments with their pets. When the client arrived at our shelter, she entered one of our 7 rooms and was assigned to occupy the one which is devoted to accessibility under the Americans with Disabilities Act, so that she could enter and exit the shower with ease. We dream of transforming that into a state-of-the-art space that fully honors the dignities of survivors with disabilities. From day one, our advocates wrapped her in care. We provided case management, culturally relevant meals that she was able to prepare for herself and her children. We provided services in her own language. And our advocates assisted her in filing a temporary protective order and connected her with our legal partners for assessment of other available civil legal protections. IWH accompanied our client to register her daughter's transfer to a new school under the McKinney-Vento Act. But we also recognize that tutoring and academic supports are critical for children recovering from trauma. And these are services that we strengthen through our children's programming on site at the shelter. I'll never forget the day that her little girl, the young lady, told me in Spanish, knowing that I'd understand, that her favorite thing to do at the shelter was to ride the bicicleta outside. That simple joy brought a spark of normalcy for her by allowing her to regain her childhood. To further illustrate the mental space many of our survivors are in when they come to us, I'll share with you that during her intake, the client asked her case manager, ¿Cuál es el truco? Which can roughly be translated to, what's the catch? She couldn't believe that we could be here for her, to help her, to support her without asking her for anything in return. Because when you live in survival mode, in constant fear and trauma, you often don't feel like you deserve to receive care. But our advocates assured her that our only expectation was that she use this opportunity to chart a path for her and her child and her family's wellness. While in shelter, she received her first ever massage and an introduction to a meditative sound bathing, just like yoga with a calming, reverberating instruments. And afterwards, she told our program coordinator that the feelings of peace and relaxation that she had during the session made her cry. Lala Delia said that self-care is how you take your power back. And we believe that and share that approach with our clients. After 30 days, our client had made incredible progress, but we knew that cultural barriers and trauma still weighed heavily. So we extended her stay another month so she could remain on a positive trajectory. We helped her apply for TANF to shop for groceries. We connected her with a community-based job readiness program. Her case manager helped her to enroll in a vocational program to strengthen her literacy and to pursue a career in the culinary arts. She also eventually found a right match for transitional housing. And due to grant funding, the International Women's House was also able to provide the initial deposit so she could move into a reduced fee apartment with a roommate. And when she was ready to leave, she didn't leave empty handed. She carried her bedding and her bed with her clothing, hygiene products, housewarming items from our extensive supply pantry, and that cherished bike that her daughter loved so much. She took that with her. She also received a free laptop and a phone through our partnership with the 911 cell phone bank to aid her in her studies and to receive 60 days of free text and talk phone service so she could begin navigating her life independently. This is what it looks like to partner with various community members to bring her from a space of crisis into a space where she felt empowered to move forward and to have stability to move forward with her family and navigate her life independently. So for that reason, we collect discarded cell phones, laptops, and damaged digital items for refurbishment to sustain that reciprocal relationship with the 911 cell phone bank, our partnering agency. It's another way you can get involved is to give us your old cell phone. Now, what did that cost you? So when she finally transitioned out, she left not only just with belongings, but with confidence, with a vision for her family's future. And that's what International Women's House provides, not just safety, but a launch pad where survivors rediscover their dignity, their dreams, and their next chapter. We invite you today to visit our website, to find us, to donate your cell phones, to raise your awareness about domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, some very unfortunate and traumatic issues that are going on within our community. And we thank you for joining us today for this Lunch and Learn. I'd like to open the floor to any questions that you have. And I especially like to thank my staff member, Christina Abdullah, for her amazing presentation.
Okay, I don't see any questions here.
Now, I do want to say, if you don't have any questions, if you have some later, if you want to shoot me an email, all of my information is located on our website at, once again, www.iwh-atlanta.org. International Women's House. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. And how are you guys funded? How is the program funded?
We are primarily funded, our largest funding comes from grants, grant funding, state funding. We also have a number of very generous donors. We have in-kind donorship, and that is, individuals who give items. We have a number of churches that give on a regular basis. We have a number of partnerships with school systems, churches, the cell phone banks, various agencies. Yesterday, I'd like to say DeKalb County Decatur schools gave all of our children in shelter tennis shoes, to bring them into the new year. You know, we and they were some very good shoes. We have partners that have already asked us what we've had partners who already asked us, you know, what do the kids want for Christmas? You know, I mean, this is and Thanksgiving. You know, not everyone celebrates Thanksgiving, not everyone celebrates it the same way, not everyone eats, you know, especially when you have immigrant and diverse communities that we focus in on. Um, we often take our clients to the farmers market so that they can go and get the spices and everything that makes them feel like home. And so our funding, we have a number of donors that recognize and appreciate what our unique niche is and donate to us. And we can always use more. And you know, I'd like to say something for a moment about funding and donorship, because I think that a lot of people feel like to be a donor, I have to have a whole bunch of money. Now, we appreciate those donors, but we also appreciate the donors. We have a donor that gives us $25 a month like clockwork. And I just want to encourage that type of donorship for causes. We can all make a difference. If all you got is five, if all you have is 10, a recurring donor, you know, donorship. That's what I want to encourage from folks who may not have millions of dollars, because many of us don't. But when you want to know what can you do to provide support, $25 goes a long way for someone who recently um, just had their food stamps cut off. You
Mhm.
know, it allows them to go and feed for $25. A family of four can have dinner in our
Yes.
shelter. So we'd like to increase our private donor partnerships, and I want to make sure that anyone who has access to this video knows that nothing is too small.
Oh, nice. And do you guys
Thank
have like a waiting list, or can people just in an emergency, can they just come?
That's a very good question. So no, you don't just come. For one, the shelter is an undisclosed location.
Mhm.
So because you know we don't
Yeah.
want anyone to know where they're at. But we have a 24-hour crisis line.
Mhm.
Our 24-hour crisis line, folks call, and here's the unique thing about our partnership, because we're a coalition. It's not, we don't do this alone, and we're not in competition with our agencies. We stand hand in hand, because there are many more people who need help than one shelter can provide. And so through that crisis line, if for some reason we don't have the space in our shelter, or if we know of an agency, we get a lot of calls on a daily basis from other agencies as well. So maybe they say, look, we've got a shelter, but we don't accept animals. We know you accept animals. We have someone with a very unique immigration issue. And so not only do they need a temporary protective order, but they need to apply for a U visa or T visa. And so they know that we have these specialized services. We have someone on site who speaks Amharic, and someone called the other day and said, hey, we have a client that we could take in our shelter, but if you have space, then could you take this client, because we know that you could speak her language.
Mhm.
So you know, I think when someone calls, and so I want to encourage that if anyone knows of someone who requires support, don't think, you know, we don't want, what is the worst thing that could happen is if someone answers, you know, I make a call and someone sends me to someone else, and then that person sends me to someone else. You know, lots of times that's the difference between someone giving up and deciding on phone call number three, I just forget it, because you know their spirits are already so low. So when they give
Yeah.
us a call, if we can't find the help, what our staff will do, I mean, if we can't directly help, what we'll do is put them in connection with someone, and support them through advocacy to find out who can. So we don't let our callers get off the phone and tell any of them that we can't do anything for them.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Like we don't have any further questions. Just say thank you so much, Miss Jennifer Clark, for sharing with us today and being our amazing speaker. I would like to say in closing, and on behalf of our director, Mr. Damon Scott, and our new CEO, Ms. Lorraine Cochran Johnson, we want to say thank you to our wonderful speaker, Ms. Jennifer Clark, and our amazing audience. We are happy that you took the time out of your schedule to be with us today. Please continue to look forward to our future Lunch and Learn series. Everyone have a
Thank
blessed.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.